Check. 1, 2, 3.
The Debrief. This is the Debrief.
Your guide to Detroit.
Your guide to Detroit's arts
and entertainment scene.
This is the Debrief.
Hello and welcome to the Debrief for the week of September 10th, 2018. I'm your co-host. My name is Seth Ressler.
Hi, I'm Becky Scarcello.
And I'm Jag.
All right, guys. We have a lot going on today's show. How do you guys feel about bees?
I love bees. Bees are my spirit animal.
Never heard anybody say that ever.
Love them.
I knew she was going to say that. That's yes.
Why didn't I don't know that I've ever told you that before.
No, but I could see it.
Mm-hmm. I don't hate them. I don't like them. I prefer not to be stung by them. If I see one coming, I will go the other way.
Well, there are bees in the D. In fact, there's an organization called Bees in the D, and we will talk to them a little bit later. We have Brian Peterson-Roest. He is the co-founder of Bees in the D.
It's like Sesame Street, brought to you by the letter B today.
I love it.
So we'll find out what that's all about. Also, on Thursday's show, when we do our sit-down interview, we're going to talk to two of the women behind the Motor City Comedy Festival, which is coming back for a second year. Lots of great stand-up comedians in a number of different venues all weekend long. So it's a great time to go check out some local stand-up comedy. Of course, you can always check out this podcast on your Amazon Echo. All you have to do is say, Alexa, enable the Debrief podcast. On the way, all your concerts, comedy, plays, food, drink, and more. Stick around.
Debrief.
Want more? Text the word Detroit to the number 444-999.
All right, Becky, let's talk a little bit about what's going on around town.
Yeah, lots happening. So first off, I've got Artworks Detroit. That's this Thursday, the 13th, at the Wasserman Projects there in Eastern Market. So it's close to my heart. Artworks is in its 23rd year. It benefits Matrix Human Services. So we kind of inherited it from another group that came together with us, but I've been involved the last couple years. So there's a live and silent auction of donated artworks. It's Detroit area artists, nationally known artists, just a huge array from maybe like $50 to up to say $5,000 value, but it's all available silent and live auction. There's also going to be a fashion show. There's an open bar, some music. So it's just a great night out too. Tickets are $100. Last year, interestingly enough, one of the things I won personally at auction was an Alex Porby bowl, like a sculptural metal bowl. And then he went on to design the light fixtures at the Foundation Hotel.
Yeah, those are cool light fixtures too. We saw those on the tour. Yeah.
So I mean,
nice.
This is an idea of the caliber of artists.
Now, is this a bowl that is just on display, or do you put things in it?
I do put things in
it. What's in your bowl?
Some fruit.
Like plastic fruit for display, or like an apple you grab on the way out the door?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And also another cool thing, Kyle Irving, who goes by the name Rise for his art, he was on Fox 2 this morning, live painting. So he did a painting start to finish in 1 hour, and that's another thing that'll be available for auction. So really fun stuff. I'll put a pic and more info on our Instagram for you to check out. So another event very close to my heart, Murals in the Market at Eastern Market. That begins also this Thursday.
Yeah, I've been meaning to ask you about this because I keep reading about this, and I've been here in Detroit a couple of years, but I've always sort of known about it, but I've never actually gone down other than what I've sort of seen in passing in Eastern Market. How do you actually do murals?
Well, there's a number of ways to go about it. So this year it went from 9 days to 10 days. So it's 10 days of live painting. So this year there's, I believe, 44 artists coming down. Again, some from Detroit, some from all over the world.
So you can actually watch them paint.
You can actually watch them painting. Now that, there's not a specific schedule for that.
And what? So they all submit and then they're all allocated. Okay,
it's
you
very
get this
curated.
wall, you get this wall.
Yeah.
Does that mean all the murals from last year are going to be covered over?
I was going to ask about that. Like what is the shelf life of a mural in the market?
It's a combination. So most are new because there's so many walls available in Eastern Market.
Okay.
So a few have been painted over. So this is the 4th year. So in the past 3 years, there were over 125 new murals. But I would say just a handful of those were painted over. Most of the artists, they're fine with whatever. They don't know going in if it's going to be there for 10 years or a year.
So they don't get upset when their mural gets painted over? Okay.
No, most have a feeling of, hey, this is my gift to Detroit. It's sort of inherent in the process. This is an outdoor place. It could peel. It could, weatherize, whatever. It's just the nature of the beast, I would say. But it's really fascinating. So you can also go down for all kinds of different parties. So there's like Eastern Market After Dark will be on the 20th. That's huge. So there'll be some live painting going on. That'll be close to the end of the festival, but there'll also be tons of vendors, a lot of other art installations, music, that kind of thing. Or you could honestly go on, say, a Tuesday during it at noon and maybe have a little bit more relaxed atmosphere and maybe actually get to talk to some of the artists. Or you can go at the end when you can actually get the map and see all the ones that are completed. And of course, you could also wait till the end and come with me and I'll tour with you. And I personally will go down and talk to as many artists as I can.
But that's the big advantage of going down now, because the murals are going to be there after this week,
Correct.
right? The big advantage of going down now is to go down and actually talk to the artists and see
live
them.
painting, yes.
Right, yeah.
But I can do that for you if you would like the 2-hour version.
Gotcha.
I will go down and talk to a lot of artists, get lots of stories, kind of gather up the best intel that I have and create a route of it. So.
What people don't realize with you with Feet on the Street tours is when you or your boss go around Eastern Market, it's kind of like Cheers. Like you walk out and everybody's like, Becky!
We are known about town. Yeah, it's kind of our stomping grounds. But
and do they come in there with like a team of painters each? Or does
usually
it depend?
some have help. Yeah, you see those large scale murals. Sometimes it's one person, but I would say more often than not, they have some help of some sort. And there's partnerships too. Will there be 2 or 3 or a team of artists that come and work together?
And I don't paint a lot of murals, so maybe this is a stupid question. But are there different mediums, or are they all basically using just
Spray paints or
spray
brushes
paints?
or-
Some use
like-
spray paint, some use brushes, some use rollers. They do have different methods,
Right.
but it is all outdoor paint.
Is anybody bedazzling?
Sometimes yes, because you'll see.
That was not the answer I was
No,
expecting.
it's true. So there's
were trying to make fun
there's
of
a
you.
mural.
I want to be a bedazzler.
Yeah, there's a mural that has broken mirrors on it, for instance,
Okay.
stuck
Yep.
to the wall. And this year there is actually going to be more of the 3D stuff, not on the walls, but there'll be some sculptures and such. They're larger scale art installations. It gets bigger every year.
Just because the back pocket of your jeans you're wearing right now is bedazzled, Seth, doesn't mean
he
everything
likes
has
it
to be.
for everything.
My
He wants
butt
to-
looks good.
It looks amazing.
No, I'll tell you something seriously. My girlfriend, who she had a Kia Soul, and she bedazzled the dashboard.
Really?
Yes,
That's fancy.
it was ridiculous.
Very fancy. Well, so circling back, muralsinthemarket.com. And then, of course, you can see my tours at enjoythed.com. And there's also be a print exhibition, which is one of my favorite parts, is if you see an artist that you love their style, you can go and buy a print really affordably of your favorite artist. So got to check it out. 10 days. So Southfield, speaking of art installations, has a new one. 65 big, bright red wooden utility poles coming out of the ground.
Why?
It's 3 stories tall.
Why?
I've seen this from the highway, right?
You can see it from the Northwestern
Northwestern, yeah.
Highway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's described as an abstract grove of trees, a post-industrial forest.
It's
kind of
abstract,
thing.
all right.
Yep.
Well, I kept thinking that they were building like an off ramp or something like. I was like, what are they building there? Like this is. And then I was like, how come this project
Here you
isn't
go.
going anywhere?
It's art for art's sake, and
Yes.
it was put where there's a biking trail that's going to have tons of outdoor art. So it's going to be a whole community space where you can get outside, be active, and see some pretty
Play
cool things.
peekaboo around the poles.
Exactly. And I'm told, I haven't gone up close to them, but I'm told they cast different shadows that are really kind of appealing.
So
on
it's
a sunny day.
Stonehenge?
It could be like Stonehenge.
It's Stonehenge in Southfield.
I'm sure there'll be some myths surrounding it.
Look, art is wonderful in this city. Obviously, murals in the market and artworks Detroit. There are so many amazing things happening in this city. You're going to tell me the city of Southfield has nothing better to do with that money, like education,
There was
water.
no city money used.
Where did money come from?
Okay, so 50,000 of it did come from the state of Michigan, though, but not the city of
Fix the
Southfield.
damn roads!
I mean, yes, fix the damn roads, but I'm okay with government money being spent on art. I
I'm okay
think
with
that's
it too,
important.
and they had to do it as a matching grant. So people got together, crowdfunded over $55,000, and then added it in this.
Crowdfund my next DTE bill.
Hey, you know what? It brings people together. I'm a big believer in public art. I get what you're saying, and also the poles themselves were donated by DTE. So
Oh, yeah, because DTE. Oh, God
didn't
bless
need 'em
DTE and
anymore.
all their charity efforts. Just keep taking my money and hiking my rates.
All right, let's move on to some singing. How do you feel about singing?
I was a radio DJ for 15 years because it's much easier for me to play the buttons than carry a tune. I'd rather let somebody else sing it.
Yeah.
I would rather as well. I'd much rather go to a concert.
I'm not a singer.
Terrible singer. So we won't be entering this contest, but maybe our listeners will. Motown Museum has launched its first singing contest. So you have to be over 16, and you have to be in a group of 3 to 5 people. But the auditions are open now, and they go through September 18th.
Do you all have to wear matching outfits?
I think that would help you.
And choreography?
I think that would help you. So you submit a video, it has to be 3 minutes or less, and then the semifinalist events will be open to the public there at DIME, the Institute of Music Education.
Great
there at Capitol
organization,
Park.
yeah.
Yeah, and they have a great performance space. And then the finale will be October 12th at the Garden Theater. So the winner gets $2,500, and they get to do a studio session with some Motown producers.
Okay, that's cool.
I know.
Who better in this town to do a singing competition than the Motown
It
Museum?
makes sense. I'm surprised they haven't had one before.
Yeah, I am too, actually. Now that you mentioned it, I'm kind of like, they haven't
Once
done
I
that
read
yet?
that, I was like, that should
That's
always
a
been a thing.
no-brainer.
So hopefully it'll take off.
Right.
So you guys know the White Boy Rick story. This has been everywhere. The young, 14-year-old FBI informant, legendary from Detroit, drug dealer. So the movie with Matthew McConaughey opens in theaters this Friday, the 14th. And also there's a podcast out there. So if you recall, when we had Jeremy Allen on.
Yeah, from
Shattered,
WDIV.
From WDIV. He did the first season of Shattered about the missing kids.
Mm-hmm.
This is season 2 of Shattered, focuses on White Boy Rick.
Season 1 was really good.
It was so
that
compelling.
was, if you like true crime, if you like things like Serial or
Well
S-Town,
done.
it was well done.
So this has 8 episodes. They're already available to download, so you can binge it. A friend of mine binged it and said it was awesome. Like, she couldn't stop listening. So.
Now, the movie is not getting great reviews. It's like a 54%, I think I saw on Rotten Tomatoes. And I'm hearing a lot of sort of blowback that it's being overblown in terms of who he was. They're calling him a drug kingpin, and he wasn't really a drug kingpin.
No.
He was
They're
Teenager.
Hollywoodifying the White Boy Rick story.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, and he's in prison. He's due to get out in a year or 2.
A couple of years,
Yeah.
he's finishing up one more sentence
So
in Florida.
does he get any
I don't know. Does he get money from it?
I don't know.
I would.
I would think.
for a living?
right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or is it held in escrow till he gets out?
I mean, I don't think just because somebody does a work of art about you that you automatically get paid.
No,
right?
definitely not. There has to be some sort
I
of-
don't think Trump's making any money off the Bob Woodward book. You know what I mean? Like, I think you can go
if
in.
there's
you
a
can-
way, he'll find it.
Well, you know what? We should talk to Greg Russell about this.
Yes, we will. We'll have him on soon.
He'll know more. So I wanted to mention the local theaters. I know we haven't talked about them a lot lately because they often do a hiatus in the summer, but they're all starting their fall season. Slipstream, Tipping Point, Open Book, Ringwald, all our favorites, plus more. They're starting up their shows. So we'll have some links to that on our website.
All right, we're going to talk about international trade in just a few moments. Specifically, we're going to talk about trading music with France.
This is the Debrief.
About last week.
All right, Jag, let's start with you. What did you do last week?
I checked out this really cool new restaurant in Troy. It's called Mission Barbecue. It's a chain, but this is the first local location of it. They opened up on the 10-year anniversary of 9/11, so September 11th, 2011. So
Wow.
7 years ago tomorrow as we record this. And it's really they do a lot for first responders and military servicemen and women around the country. So if you walk into the one in Troy, which is on Big Beaver and Rochester, I believe, it's where that big shopping plaza is.
Oh, sure.
You go in, there's patches from local and national police departments all over the walls. There's all sorts of stuff about 9/11 and first responders and military people who have done a lot of things for our country in the time since. And then the food is pretty solid. Got a cornbread dessert. We got a cornbread. I got the sampler that was the pork, the brisket, and the chicken.
I love that because I'm a big barbecue fan, so I'm always looking for new barbecue places.
Yep, so
I'll go check it
get
out.
the sampler and try the different things. The staff was wonderful. The service was great. Some of the proceeds you can make a donation to first responders and the military. And it was just a really cool thing. They wanted to open these up around the country to honor people as we hit the 10th anniversary of 9/11. And then because they're all over the country, you get to your table and there are 6 different barbecue sauces. So there's
nice.
a Carolina, there's a Memphis, there's a Texas, there's a Missouri, St. Louis. So, and it's funny, I lost track. I'm like, which one do I want? I squirted a little each of the 6 on my
Yeah.
plate and I tried them like, they're all really good. I guess I just like them all.
Nice.
So if you like barbecue, Seth, definitely check out
I'm in.
Mission Barbecue in Troy.
My
Yes.
whole family likes barbecue. That's like something we can all.
Yeah, bring the family. They'll enjoy that.
Yeah, cool.
What about you, Becky?
Let's see. So one of the things I did recently was checked out this new bar club in the Belt. There, that art area, open air area, which is great in the summer, next to the Z Garage on Library Street. And this Deluxe Flux opened, I don't know, maybe like a month ago.
That's the name of the bar, Deluxe Flux?
Deluxe Flux. And there's not even the name on the door. It's just 2 red X's in neon. And you like go in, it feels like you're going to like a secret underground club.
You
sort
know
of
every
feel.
secret in this city, though.
This was pretty well publicized, but so you go in, and it was funny because my husband's like, "Oh, I like it already," because it's like this dark hallway, and you don't really know where it leads. So it opens up to this big room that has a wood floor and like kind of these lights going on. And then the real showcase is in the back. You go to this other room that's covered with art. I'm talking on the walls, the floor, the ceiling, all the furniture. Every inch is covered with like neon posters.
Wow.
They're all created by this one artist collective from Brooklyn. It's 2 people. And it just has such a cool feel. And there's some Detroit elements to it. Like there's a woman reclining in sort of an 80s looking outfit next to the Rensen. And, all in these bright neon colors. And it's like the best photo ops. I already got like my new Facebook profile pic.
I know, I saw it.
I did. That was
social
awesome.
media.
That's
It was a
where it
nice
was.
photo.
That's where that was.
Very colorful, yeah.
Yeah, it's super fun. And so it's real lively because people are all in there taking all their pictures and everything. And then they also have a room off to the side that's video games, but it's all custom video games. They're all free to play, but it's stand up and it's like versions of your favorites with a Detroit theme.
It's like a knockoff?
There's like a Tetris, but it's got a Detroit. So no, really nicely graphically designed.
Okay.
There's an Eastern Market themed one and like a Space Invaders theme one. So it's really fun. And they have DJs and then live music. So, and a really cool person books it. Like they get really interesting, fun bands. And the night we went was Peter-Roest of Rocksteady Disco.
Friend of the pod.
It's your buddy there.
Yeah, and his label partner too, Blair French. So they were spinning tunes, world music. It was really, really fun. So I encourage you to pop in there when you go to the Bell. It's just like a different fun. And you saw all kinds of people coming and going because there's just this draw of coming to see the art. So it doesn't feel like that, oh, we're at the club and you got to be like 22 and,
I do worry about that. There's that famous line from Chris Rock, about the old guy in the club.
Exactly. It's not like that.
He's not really that old. He's just a little too old for the club.
Yeah.
I feel like that these days.
Yeah, I mean, now maybe, we were kind of on the early side and maybe it's a lot of just interest,
Right.
Curiosity, but it felt like a very open,
You were there for
welcoming
the
place.
Senior Citizens Hour?
No,
Hometown
come
buffet.
on. Yeah, but I feel like it's a nice addition, something cool that we didn't really have downtown before.
Cool. All right, in just a few, you could own a Silver Dome sign. We'll tell you all about it.
This is the D.
Concert calendar.
Becky, let's take a look at the concerts that are coming to town.
Some interesting shows this week. On Wednesday, Pussy Riot is coming to El Club. Now, I don't know if you've seen their famous video that
Yes.
they came out with.
Yes.
So in 2016, so they're based out of Moscow. This is a Russian women's feminist kind of a punk rock protest band. At one time, I think they had 11 different members. But so they were anticipating that Trump was going to win. So they made a song and a video called Make America Great Again. And it had this whole theme of if Trump were president, what kind of dystopian sort of world would we be living in? So it's very brutal.
I actually did not know about this.
You got to watch it.
Oh, yeah, it's
intense.
freaky, yes.
It's freaky and
So-
it's intense. It's like branding people, all in the name of enforcing his values. And
Wait, he has values?
well, his
Opinions?
opinion, yeah. And, beatings. There's even a point where stormtroopers are marching in, But the music and the feel of the song is very carefree and kind of like upbeat
Just
and
to be
fun.
ironic.
So it's yeah.
It's a very political band. Very, even before, and not just U.S. politics.
Oh,
obviously,
they're
a lot
very much protesting Putin and many, many things around the world. So I think that's amazing that they're coming here to El
It's
Club.
weird because it feels like even though we're in a very politically charged time, there are not a lot of political music acts out there these days.
Not really. I mean, you'll go to live shows and almost always, will comment but it's usually more of the like, hey, we're all about love. Let's be in this together. You know, the positive.
Well, and the other thing now too is this talk about companies and companies taking a stand politically. Nike being the obvious example from the last week or two is there are some people who feel like they want companies to take a political stand. That's very big in the millennial and Gen Z generations. I want to know if I'm going to support this company. I want to know where they stand politically. And then sometimes Gen X will say, I don't want my company to be involved with politics.
I just want my product.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting to see how this is going to play out both musically and in the corporate world as well.
Of course. So on Thursday, September 13th, bringing it back a little local, Ben Sharkey. He's a local singer, musician, been popular for a long time. But his first album in 6 years is coming out. It's called Mercury Rising, and he's doing an album release concert at the Garden Theater. And Sean Blackman, who we've talked about a lot on this podcast, is his special guest that night. So it should be an interesting show. Friday on the 14th, Owl City is at Crowfoot.
So I was a top 40 radio DJ when his song Fireflies came out.
That's what I immediately started singing that song in my head.
I know, and I'm in my head too. You don't want me to sing it out loud.
Okay.
But he had the video for the song, and and I remember having to explain every night. Okay, the group is Owl City, but it's really just this one dude from Minnesota.
Yes.
And he kind of was a one-hit wonder. And then one and a half if you include Good Time with Carly Rae Jepsen.
That was the follow-up single, right?
Yeah, with Carly Rae Jepsen when she did the follow-up to Call Me Maybe. Yeah, so but it was just this odd thing, but it was one of those unique, it didn't sound like anything else on the radio.
I don't think that's
songs.
true, because there was a band that came before that called the Postal Service, which had Ben Gibbard from Death Cab for Cutie on vocals, that had the exact same sound.
Oh.
And
but we're not singing
but
it
here's
right
the
now,
thing:
though.
is I was in the top 40 radio bubble, and if you didn't get into my bubble, you weren't relevant.
No, and it didn't. I mean, we played that, and K-Rock and
you guys
Los
were the
Angeles
cool
played
alternative
it, but
guys. That doesn't count until it hits top 40.
But yeah, all right.
All right, speaking of different stuff that's not going to be on your top 40 station.
Yes.
Friday and Saturday, New Music Detroit is presenting this Strange, Beautiful Music. It's a marathon concert. This is the 11th year. It's all experimental music, which could mean anything from just improvisational jazz to some sort of electronica, world music. I even saw a video online, a woman that's going to be performing there that just does... she puts vinyl on a turntable and scratches out different sounds. So it runs the gamut.
Does somebody have a washboard and
my point is you don't know what you might see, and it's at the Charles Wright Museum, the DIA, and the DSO Cube. So you got those 3 venues, 2 days, 15 hours of music.
That's a lot of music.
Yeah. Check it out. The 15th, which is Saturday, Michael Nesmith of the Monkees fame. He's going to be at the Royal Music Theater with his First National Band. And then Bruno Mars is the big show of the week, Saturday and Sunday at LCA.
We were thinking about going to Bruno Mars, and it's so funny because my wife will say to me, "You spoiled me. I haven't had to pay for a concert ticket in 8 years." I'm like, "Honey, I'm not in radio anymore. If you want to see Bruno, we're going to have to pay for it."
Right,
that would be worth it, though. That guy is a rock star. I mean, he's a performer.
Of our time,
there's probably
the dancing.
I could count on one hand the number of acts I'd probably pay to see at this point, and he's on there. He's just a superstar.
And here's another reason to go see him. So my friend, LaDarryl Johnson, who goes by the stage name Stax Appeal, is opening for Bruno. He plays with Charlie Wilson.
Okay.
So he's the saxophonist with Charlie Wilson, and they are opening for Bruno Mars. They took over when Cardi B had to drop out of the tour.
That's a cool opportunity.
Yeah. So they've been going, he's been in London and Hollywood Bowl, all over.
Nice.
So, and he has actually taught sax lessons to my son, Ben.
What?
Yeah.
He taught your son about sax.
At the Detroit Saxophone Center. And maybe, I don't know what they talked about all in the
You better find
out.
No offense, Becky. You don't want to get that lesson from your mom. You want to get it from somebody else.
Exactly right. So it's just the kindest, coolest man and an amazing talent on the saxophone. So check that out. If you go see Bruno, go early and see Charlie Wilson and my friend Sax Appeal. On Sunday, Interpol is at the Royal Music Theater. And the Majestic this week has a few shows, including Dej Loaf with Royce da 5'9", another local artist.
Is Dej Loaf related to Meatloaf?
I think they're distant cousins.
Okay.
Yeah. Liz Phair and Yola Tango, all at Majestic. You can head to DT this week for Jason Aldean's there with Luke Combs and Lauren Elena, and Pentatonics is there as well this week. So I got some music news. Now through the 21st of September, there's this whole experimental music exchange going on between Detroit and Paris. So there's live improv and original compositions by both French artists, Detroit artists at different really crazy venues, not your typical music venues. One of them is the Oakland Avenue Urban Farm. The other is the Ride at Sculpture Park, the skate park. So cool thing going on. Big Sean and Imagine, we've talked about Big Sean wants to bring a movie theater to the city.
Yeah.
So they've narrowed down their finalists, I think, to 2. And the word is that one might be in the Michigan Central Depot.
So what does a Big Sean movie theater actually look like? Like what makes it a Big Sean?
He's just partnering with Imagine.
I think he's just
to do a
partnering
big...
with Imagine. It will be, like an amped up Imagine.
So he's just a money partner in it. There's nothing.
But he wants to do it in the city of Detroit where you don't have
Oh,
that.
I see. Gotcha. Okay.
Exactly. That's been kind of, we talk about the food desert.
Right.
It's kind of been like
There's a movie theater desert?
Yeah, there kind of has been.
I understand.
So, of course, the big music news around Detroit, Eminem dropped a surprise new album. So, Kamikaze came out. No one knew it was coming. Midnight on the Friday of Labor Day weekend.
And the funny thing about this is, and Seth will, maybe scowl at me revealing a radio secret here, but, on a holiday weekend, in the current state of radio, a lot of DJs pre-record shows. It's called voice tracking. And so you might be there late on Thursday or Friday knocking out shows for Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And one of my friends in radio had made a joke and said, please nobody die over Labor Day weekend because I already have 5 shows in the can.
Right.
Well, he posts that, and then Friday night, right at the beginning of the holiday weekend, Eminem says, oh, by the way, one of the biggest music stars in the world just drops an entire album with no notice.
Well, and the other thing that happens, you probably remember this, there used to be a time back before the internet when if you were a radio station, it was a big deal to get an advance copy of an album before your competition, before the other stations.
Yeah, because you could play it on the air.
I remember hearing about that. Yeah.
I remember being in Seattle back when Eminem was still played on alternative rock radio, very early in his career.
My Name Is and that kind of stuff.
The album after that, what is it? The
Encore?
No, before that, I think. But we were there and we got a copy of the album. And I remember our DJ just barricaded himself in the studio, and the big hip hop station in town was called Cube 93.3 or something like that. And he barricaded on, and he does this big intro. I'm about to play the brand new Eminem album. Nobody has it. Cube 93.3, Kiss My Ass.
Oh, wow.
And plays the album in its entirety.
Really?
And the Interscope rep called me because I was the music director at the station. Called me the next day and just started yelling. This is the only time somebody's been yelling at me so much on the phone. I literally had to hold the phone away from my ear.
Really?
And it was because I leaked, and I probably shouldn't say this. Maybe Eminem's going to come after me because this is some people pretty hard on this album.
Oh, so there was no permission?
No, we didn't have. No, I had a bootleg. I don't even remember where I got it.
Oh.
I had a bootleg copy of a brand new Eminem album before anybody
Did
else
they have to make their edits? Was it radio friendly? Or
yeah, I think we had to go, take and
production studio and what?
Yeah.
That's a time-consuming process on an Eminem album.
Yes, it is.
What? Wow.
So, yeah.
Well, Ben and I, my son, listened to this. We happened to be going on a decent-sized car ride, so we listened to it in its entirety on the way to our destination and again on the way back because it's hard to catch every word. I mean, this guy, he's still is incredible. Like
His
I don't
mouth
know.
moves faster than my brain can process what he's saying.
Exactly. You're almost exhausted listening to some of these songs because it's just so rapid fire and you're trying to catch. I mean, this one especially, all the disses to various, like you have to know your music. Like, okay,
I didn't know half the people he was talking about. I've only been out on the radio for a year.
And then some that he's not. Like he made reference to Kendrick Lamar. He didn't say his name, but if you're familiar with Kendrick's music, he was not dissing him. But
he is a clever wordsmith.
So clever.
I mean, he's
poetry.
Yeah, I listen to albums and I'm like, just the things he does are just so...
The twist with it?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
And I don't know how he does it without taking a breath. I mean, he is breathing, but it's like, it seems like he's not, and going on for like a 5-minute song. And I think it's great.
And working in radio before I came to Detroit, like he's so big nationally, everybody loves him. But then coming to Detroit and finding out what a different level it's on.
Yeah.
And here in Detroit, where he's just, he can't go anywhere without, presidential Secret Service level security because they'll be mobbed.
All right, coming up in just a few, there are bees in the D, and we'll tell you all about them.
The D, breathe. The D, breathe.
Sports Report.
Jag, what's going on with the sports?
Have either one of you ever had a coworker that you just couldn't stand to the point where it almost got physical?
Yes.
Okay.
Really?
Like if it
You almost got into a fight?
No, in my head, I would have punched her in the face.
You like fight fantasies?
Okay, who did you want to throat punch, Becky?
Okay, so I worked at this office, which shall remain unnamed, and a woman I worked with, we shared a small bathroom, the ladies on the floor, and so I was privy to that. She never washed her hands.
Oh, my biggest pet peeve in the world.
Right? And with no qualms at all. Like, even asked her about it once, and she's like, "Oh, my hands get too dry from the soap, so I don't wash them." And then she would like ask to use my computer. and my phone.
No.
So
gross.
I was just like, "No, you can't." And I'm not a confrontational person. I was just like, "No, I can't. No." And she was upset that she couldn't. I said, "Well, I've seen I don't want to get sick. I have young kids,
Yeah.
So
You'd be like her mother, tell her to wash her hands like you do your kids.
Did you just put one of those signs in the bathroom that says employees must wash hands?
exactly.
And put her name on it.
Right.
What about you guys? Have you ever punched a coworker?
I've never punched a coworker. Have you?
Seth, have you ever had a real close altercation with anybody?
No, I mean, I'm not a physical violence
Me
kind
neither,
of guy.
ever.
You know?
No, I'm
It's
pretty
not really-
civil in the workplace.
I
Right.
had a receptionist at a radio station, not in Detroit, but another station that I worked at, who stood up from her chair and got in my face and screamed at me because I had asked her to stay until 5:02. So a listener could come pick up her Taylor Swift tickets for the next day because she was coming from an hour away. And it got ugly.
Jeez.
The reason I ask about the coworker thing is the Fox Sports Detroit Tigers play-by-play team of Mario Impemba and Rod Allen. This is the biggest sports story of the week here in Detroit. They've been doing the games together on TV for 17 years, and there is an alleged physical confrontation that happened between the two of them last Tuesday night in Chicago after they called the Tigers-White Sox game. The story goes, this has not been proven, but allegedly there was an argument over a chair, and Rod came up behind Mario and choked him.
Over a chair.
Oh, because you can tell that this has been building between these guys for a while. They've been together for a long time. Now, the Fox Sports Detroit is not saying anything. It's an internal personnel matter. We're not talking about it. But inquiring minds want to know, and like everybody in the city wants to know what's happening. The two of them are off the games for the rest of the year. We don't know what's going to happen for next year in 2019, but they're done for the year. Will they stay under contract? Will they do something else? We don't know because their contract doesn't stipulate how many games they have to do, just that they get paid. So this is going to be really interesting going forward.
I will say this. I've gotten fired 5 or 6 times in my life. Like, I've gotten fired a lot.
And that's just not a function of you. That's just how the radio business is.
No, I think it was a function of me.
I was trying to give you an out.
But I've never gotten fired for almost, killing one of my coworkers.
Okay, well, there's that.
That's never been grounds for my termination.
I was always fired for low ratings myself. Lions open tonight on Monday Night Football. We'll skip over that because as we're recording this, they're just getting completely destroyed, and it looks really, really bad.
Pass.
So the other big story over the weekend, so Serena Williams, who was born in Saginaw, a lot of people didn't know that, but
I didn't know
she's
that,
born
no.
here in Michigan. She was penalized in the final of the U.S. Open in New York on Saturday, and this was ugly. And Becky, I'm going to give this one to you because you actually watched it live. I only read about it.
Yeah, and just the disclaimer, I'm not a huge tennis fan. Like, I don't play it or I don't follow it closely, but I happen to be watching this. And, of course, she's the biggest star there. It was unfortunate because it turned into just a really ugly situation that took away from the play.
For anybody who doesn't know the story, she was in the finals. She got penalized for the coach allegedly giving her a signal
Coaching from the stands.
She got upset. She said, "I don't cheat," and she got pretty angry about it. And this disagreement escalated to the point where the umpire docked her an entire game.
Well, and then she got a second violation for breaking a tennis racket on the court because she was visibly upset. So that one was valid. But then, to take a whole game and award it to an opponent.
Which has never happened.
No. And it very much read that if a white man in particular would have done a similar thing, which we've seen many, many times.
And it's been celebrated. Agassi and McEnroe and all those guys back in the day.
This would have never happened to them. I mean, she was not harassing. She was not personally threatening. It didn't get into that kind of elevation. You know, she did call him a thief at one point for
Stealing a game from her.
stealing a game, but it really wasn't anything that unusual. And also coaching from the stands is not unusual. I mean, the coach later admitted he did do it, but it's like everyone does it. And it's a known thing, and she didn't see it. And it's something that is just kind of, he'd never gotten called out on it ever in his career. So it just was this weird, perfect storm. And what's sad is Naomi Osaka was playing the match of her life.
She may have legitimately beaten Serena without any of this sideshow stuff.
Really well, and yet she was visibly sad at the end because the crowd was booing
because they were unhappy with how
they were. Yeah,
game got
exactly.
played.
And so it really took away from this 20-year-old Japanese girl, you know, who is also breaking records, and
who, from what I understand, is also a big Serena Williams fan.
It's been her idol.
Yeah.
She's been her idol, and she looked up to her. And to just have it play out this way was just unfortunate in a Grand Slam. It didn't have to happen in my mind.
And it's the double standard. I mean, John McEnroe, who is famous for arguing calls, John McEnroe has done commercials making fun of himself for yelling at umpires and celebrating it. You know, there have been white male tennis players who have said, "I'll make sure you never work a match again," and that kind of threatening stuff.
And she said nothing like that.
There's definitely a double standard.
And she's definitely had some unfair treatment, in the league, and she called over the refs, and it just, maybe she did go on a bit about it. She was kept arguing, but it wasn't to that level. And to put that kind, then there's always this question, well, what would have happened if she didn't get that point, game taken away? And that just, it takes away from the good play of Osaka,
There was nobody happy at the end of this.
No.
College football quick update as the Michigan State rivalry in state, and everybody likes to talk smack to their friends that root for the other guys. After the first week, the state fans were laughing because Michigan lost and state won. This week, Michigan wins and state loses. So their new rankings came out today, and now Michigan's ranked 19th and Sparty has gone down to 25, so Michigan's ahead.
Go Blue.
The Detroit FC is getting a massive mural by their stadium over by Joseph Campo. That's Kyle Danley, the artist, is going to do that. And my favorite story of the week, the Silver Dome highway signs are being auctioned off. So the exit signs on M59 for the Silver Dome, they're being auctioned off by MDOT. And the minimum bid is $500. As of my last check this afternoon, the link, if you want to see it or place a bid, by the way, is on the Debrief Facebook page. One bid.
That's it?
It's got one bid.
For $500?
Yeah.
For like the bare minimum. Like you would think all these sports things, people have seats from the Joe and Tiger Stadium. And
they sold some of that stuff off from the Silver Dome.
But street signs, I got a wrench. I can go get one for free. I mean, it's not that hard.
You're going to go out there.
I'm thinking if you've got one of those really high-end sports bars in your basement, like, have a Silver Dome sign. That'd be cool. It's got to be more than one person that wants it.
Maybe it's too late. Maybe it's too late. People are over it.
Yeah. Could be.
All right, coming up in just a few, we've got some local craft beer news. Hang tight.
The D. Brief.
All right, Becky, you're a big bee fan. Is that...
I love the bees, yeah. And
I like the birds and the bees. I mean...
going way back to college, I kind of got the nickname from someone, Queen Bee. And
before Beyonce?
Wait a minute.
Yeah, I'm serious.
Have you sued her for trademark infringement?
No.
She's got the money.
She can have it. But and then a lot of people just call me B.
Right.
So
we should start calling her. I can't call you B. That's just weird.
It has to come naturally. So it's mainly people that knew me in college and maybe a little bit after. But so then people kind of buy me bee things, like, a towel with a bee on it or a dish or whatever. I love them, and I love the contrast of like they're fuzzy but they sting. And
have you gotten close enough to know they're fuzzy?
Oh yeah.
No, thank you.
Yeah,
no,
I love them.
I'm going the other way. I'll take the honey at the
Are you
end.
scared of bees?
Scared is overstating it, but I'm not really comfortable around them. I would just assume not get stung.
Well, look, there's an organization just for you to help you get comfortable.
Yes,
with
they're
bees.
very important.
What does the city not have? I mean, come on.
Very important to our world.
The organization's called Bees in the D. It's a nonprofit that contributes to honeybee health here in Detroit and education about their importance so that, unenlightened individuals like yourself can learn more about why bees are important to the environment.
Yeah, I'm about as unenlightened.
Like if the bees left, we would all die.
Yes.
No, I know their value. I just prefer not to be too close to them.
They're beautiful.
Right. Well, look, they actually manage over 100 honeybee hives in 39 locations right here in the city, including places like the roof of Cobo Center.
I've seen those.
The Rensen Parking Garage, the Foundation Hotel, the downtown boxing gym that we talked about.
With Mike Rothstein.
Yeah,
Oh,
with
sure.
Mike Rothstein. So I had an opportunity to sit down with the co-founder of Bees in the D. That's Brian Peterson-Roest. And asked him a little bit about it, starting with, look, how do you actually launch a beehive?
What it is we set up the woodenware and then we order bees. I have a wonderful beekeeper. He's a retired teacher that breeds bees down in Flat Rock. And I order and buy nukes, which are a small nucleus of bees that are in a box, including a queen. And they're already on frames, and then I just introduce them into the hive, and then I basically give them an upgrade of their home from a smaller little condo, if you will, up to a large mansion that keeps growing.
I think that's cool that it's called a nuke.
That got my attention right
Yeah.
away.
Right. It's just, like I'm going to nuke you with bees.
Right.
Hey, take that, Kim Jong-un.
So yeah, like I said, there's actually so you've been here to the hive up on the Cobo Center?
the one's on Cobo, and actually one of my neighbors has bees in his backyard, and he just got them via FedEx.
Yeah, you can order them
Yeah.
like that,
They
right?
come alive?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he just got the whole
I'm
kit.
a poor delivery driver.
They don't get out.
They don't get out.
You
It's all
seal the
secure.
package, yeah.
Yeah, but
So-
yeah.
I wouldn't take that chance.
Anyway, there's a hive up on Cobo Center. I thought this was fascinating, so I asked Brian
It's neat.
about this.
Cobo has an amazing green roof if you haven't seen it. And they do grow herbs up there. And they have an incredible green team at Cobo and are really setting the bar for sustainability with conference centers. And so the bees were just a natural fit up there. So we have 4 hives there.
And right across from Cobo Center, of course, is the Foundation Hotel,
Right, you can
which is
see it
built
from
out
there.
of the old,
Fire station.
fire station there. And they've got hives there as well.
So I took all the chefs from the Foundation Hotel at the apparatus room up into the hive so that they could see where this honey is coming from. And so then they will use the honey in some of the menu. I'm also working with the pastry chef at Grey Ghost, and she uses the honey and actually even the honeycomb in one of the desserts that they have. And so, we're realizing more and more, why not get it right from the source? You don't get fresher than right on your building top.
So I like that they're doing that.
Oh yeah, I love honey too, and there's a huge body of research too. If you eat raw,
Manuka honey?
organic, local honey,
Yeah.
you can actually prevent allergies in yourself.
There's a word in food that I love called terroir, which means taste of place. It's used a lot in winemaking. So, for example, they'll say that the wine made from the grapes on the shady side of the hill tastes different than the wine from the grapes made on the sunny side
Same
of the
is
hill.
true of like coffee beans and that
Right,
kind of stuff.
exactly.
It's being applied more and more to food, and honey is a great place to explore terroir because we think of honey, we think of the the little
The
plastic
squeezy
bear,
bear,
right?
Yeah, no.
no.
Once you've had all the local stuff,
right,
you never
there's
go
a
back.
lot of different honeys, so it's actually a really cool world to get into.
100%.
Another thing I asked Brian about was what the state of beekeeping is here in Detroit.
Detroit is just becoming a leader in urban beekeeping. A lot of different people are starting to learn the art of beekeeping and keeping hives. So actually the population of Detroit is pretty healthy, but it's a natural fit. I mean, we have so many organic gardens like the Greening of Detroit, Moofy, and we have so many empty lots that have wonderful weeds and flowers that are not being treated. We don't have to worry as much about the pesticides and insecticides that are also causing problems.
That I'm on board with.
Yeah. So part of their mission is obviously having these hives and raising these bees, but another part of their mission is the education that they do. And so they've got these educational programs.
We are working right now with Ford to come up with educational programs that could be used in schools, that could be used just with the general public, and could be used with employees there at Ford or in other locations. I do regular workshops and talks at the Outdoor Adventure Center. We're working at the downtown boxing gym with the community center there. We have 4 hives there, and it's so fun to suit up the kids and take them into the hives. And we were fortunate enough, Fardman group was very generous and granted us 30 children's bee suits. So that allowed us to suit up the kids and allow them to see a world that they probably would never get to see.
I love that they're at the boxing gym. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
I knew you were going to say that.
You saw my eyes light up,
You're
didn't
like,
you?
oh, I got one.
The big old light bulb above my head.
Well, they're also doing an event that I'm really excited about. It's happening on September 14th, and this is happening over at our friend Eastern Market Brewery over there in Eastern Market, right? The Eastern Market Brewing Company has actually...
You say it's in Eastern Market?
Yes, it's in Eastern Market, and they've made a special IPA because they've got some hives there, and they use the honey, and they made a special IPA.
Perfect.
So if you go on September 14th, there's going to be Bees in the D honey harvest, and you can taste the beer and all that.
I love that. And honey pairs so well with so many cocktails and stuff. I know Detroit Distillery does a whiskey honey lemon drink that's so good.
I actually make a margarita with a little bit of honey.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, not agave, but honey.
But honey, yeah.
Okay.
Well, if you want the IPA, all the details are over at easternmarket.beer. Amy Schumer's coming to town, sort of, kind of close. We'll tell you about it in just a minute.
The D. Breathe.
Food and drink.
Becky, what's going on in the food and drink world?
All right, I know you hate to talk about beer, and we just talked about beer.
I hate
so
talking
now we
about
got to
beer.
talk about more beer.
I like drinking
Snooze.
beer. Did you bring beer?
I might have brought some.
I would say that might be our most well-covered topic on
It
the
might
show is
be.
beer. And I don't think any of us have a problem with
I
that.
don't think that's a bad thing. So I got some local craft beer news. Atwater Brewery is going to dedicate the painting called The Commissioner at the Detroit Foundation Hotel. Again, we talk about Foundation Hotel a lot too. So this Friday night, they're going to have a party. It all kind of works together. So there's a new red lager. It's inspired by Detroit firefighters, right? Their heroism. And it's all tied into art too. Tony Rocco, who's kind of become the face of the beer labels for Atwater.
Yeah.
So he did this amazing painting. You guys got to go see it. It's giant of this historic firefighter meant to sort of represent the fire commissioner. And he's made a frame that goes with it that's all integrated with old fire tools.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, repurposed wood and fire tools. And at this party, they're going to be launching the beer. You're going to see the painting, and there'll also be the current fire chief in his full regalia will be there. And then Tony is going to take this piece to Art Prize in Grand Rapids. So I don't know if you guys have been. We went last year. It's this amazing several days. It's the 19th of September through the 7th of October. And there's art everywhere in Grand Rapids, and people can vote on their favorites.
Nice.
Oh, that's nice.
So, and then there's a big cash prize to winners in different categories. I had a chance to go to Tony Rocco's studio too, and I love his art. It's really colorful, really cool. So that's Friday night. So another local brewery, Founders Brewing, they're kind of known for being pioneers in the industry in all sorts of ways. They introduced the 15-pack of craft beer cans, before that was at all a thing. They were the first to perfect, the Session IPA.
That's the lawnmower one, or the... Yeah, their IPA is very,
all
it's
day
in the green
IPA.
can. Yeah, all day
Yes.
IPA.
Right.
That's it, yeah.
The idea is that it's lower volume
It's
of
lower
alcohol.
volume alcohol.
So that
It's-
you can drink
Drink it all day as you're mowing the
It's
lawn.
your
yeah.
lawnmower beer.
Right.
Yeah. So they were really the first to do it. Now it's commonplace. Everybody's got a Session IPA. But so earlier this year, they're kind of changing the game again. They came in with low prices to kind of compete with the mainstream domestics. Like we're talking Bud, Coors Light.
Yeah, I thought this was an odd move. I don't know how I feel about this.
I did too. So theirs it's called Solid Gold Pale Lager. So it's similar, in style or whatever, but they actually tripled their forecasted sales by lowering the price.
Really?
Tripled what they thought they would do.
See, because when I think of craft beer, I specifically think of not Miller, not Bud,
Exactly,
not Coors.
for sure, right?
And
Yeah.
I don't like those light lagers that
So
are...
I don't know. I haven't tasted this one, and I'm assuming it
There's
tastes
one in my fridge that is waiting for me.
a
So I'll let you,
Solid Gold.
Solid Gold. I'll let you know how it
maybe
is. Yeah.
report back. But so Forbes came out with this story kind of talking about this trend, I guess, just starting, and they really were highlighting Founders as the pioneers of this.
I guess that's my problem with it, is that Forbes is the one writing. I mean, this is a business story. This is not
it's a business story.
a craft beer
It's not
story.
talking about the taste,
And don't
yeah.
get me wrong, I love, Founders has a lot of beers that I really, really
Oh,
like.
sure, yeah.
So I just found this move odd.
Yeah,
But,
so they
but
say
apparently it's paid off.
and they say this whole pricing thing is going to change the craft beer world. So
And-
hopefully it won't diminish quality.
Well, that's the thing is, if there's the whole idea of, you drink craft beers, you're a snob or whatever,
Yes.
which is so not true in Michigan. We have so many
No.
amazing breweries here. But there's one of the bars that I host trivia at is it's a bar that's not the highest quality. It's not the highest prices at this bar.
Yeah.
And their 3 taps are Bud Light, Coors Light, and Miller Lite. Those are literally their 3
That's it.
taps. And so if these good quality beers start coming down in price,
Maybe
it looks like it
they'll-
might work for them.
Yeah, those
people a
tap
better
handles
option.
at places like that was all politics. You know what I mean? Like that's what gets you in.
Yeah,
And it's money. It's
dispensing,
not
yeah.
they're not choosing those because those are the greatest beers. They're choosing them. There's a lot of politics. Like going to the grocery store and seeing the
End
cereal
caps.
that's placed at
Oh, they
the end
buy.
cap
eye level.
There's
they
a
buy
whole-
that
They buy their
position.
position.
Yeah.
They buy their position. Yeah. Who knows? So, Burt's, they're in Eastern Market again, and American Coney Island. I don't know if you're American or Lafayette fans, but Burt's and American Coney Island are 2 local places that are going to be on the Travel Channel coming up soon. So we kind of got a little bit of the inside scoop from Emily Gale. So she was interviewed at American Coney Island with the owner, Grace Kuros, over there.
This
And
is say nice things about
Detroit, Emily Gale.
BFF of the pod.
It's kind of like a little teaser. Detroit's going to be on the Travel Channel again, and so we'll keep you updated as that develops.
Quick note, I just saw it tonight. You talk about her being at American. Lafayette's going to start taking credit cards. I saw that today.
Oh, wow.
That's a big deal.
That is a big deal. So I have an opening for you, Albana, in the Siren Hotel. So this is Chef Garrett Lepar. I don't know if you guys were familiar with Torino and Ferndale. It might have been before your time
It was
here.
like a flash in the pan, wasn't it?
It
Very
was
quick
pretty
and went away.
Pretty quick, but won Restaurant of the Year in 2014.
Okay.
Free Press Restaurant of the Year. So the chef has opened a new 8-seat, you heard me right, only 8 seats,
That's not many.
tasting counter in the Siren Hotel. Reservations are open now. You get a 10-course meal
What?
for $130.
I can't eat 10 courses.
Well, they're small.
Yeah, these are you've never
It's
done
tasting.
a tasting
Here's
menu.
course 3. It's a cracker.
No, that's
No,
what it is.
well, but
because
it's-
there's an amuse bouche.
But it'll be the most amazing cracker
Yes,
ever.
it will be. Yeah,
With, a pumpkin seed on it.
it's a steep price to do this, but every once in a while you go out and you do this.
Special.
Yeah, it's
And you
special.
never know. I mean, you have no say. It's just what he's making that day,
Right.
And how cool to be one of 8 people. The chef is literally, there's the chef, his manager, and a sous chef. That's it. The only employees. So you're interacting directly with the chef. He's saying, here's what I thought of. Here's the products I use, very like locally focused and interesting. And you have to buy the ticket ahead of time, and there's no refunds. And you can pair wine with it, extra $45. What do you guys
Lord.
think? Like, do you like to go in not knowing what you're going to eat?
No, I love these. I will.
No.
I will absolutely go in for a tasting menu.
Me too.
Anytime.
I'm all about it.
But here's the thing. This is.
But Jag, no.
Well, no, because I will try any kind of food you put in front of me. I'll try, sushi with eel and squid and whatever. I'll try anything.
Yeah.
But there are certain foods that don't agree with me. And there are certain, because I have a few digestive issues. And
Well, you tell the chef that ahead of
Yes,
time.
he
Yes.
will accommodate certain.
Right.
It said something like,
If you're lactose intolerant,
But
you
no,
tell
like,
them.
for example, like onions. I like onions, but onions don't like me at all. And
Yeah. So
I-
you say
so
that.
you could
But
say that.
onions are in everything. Like, I feel like that'd be a massive
No,
ass to not
you-
include onions in any of these
you
10
need,
courses.
You need to do this experience.
Yes.
But I will say this, that's a high price point, and it's interesting that they think, granted, it's
Well,
only
there's
8 seats.
that's the thing, is you gotta charge
but
to
it's
make your
interesting
margins.
that they think that Detroit is the type
Oh,
of city
Detroit's
that can-
absolutely ready for this. The apparatus room, the chef's table at apparatus room is even more expensive than this. I think it's $175 a ticket, and that is sold out for months and months ahead of time.
That shows you that Detroit's changing then, I think.
Exactly. And I think they even make a joke on their website, Albana does, that, if you can't get into chef's table,
Wow.
try here. There's absolutely people
Right.
lining up for this. And Mark Kurlianchik just gave it a glowing review too. So
That's the Detroit Free Press critic.
Free Press
Another friend of the
restaurant
pod.
critic, yes. So a closing, Michael Simon's B-Spot Burgers there in downtown Royal Oak, they closed just abruptly, no warning or notice at the end of August. The Rochester location had closed in July. So I guess a few other Midwestern places, Indiana, somewhere else also closed. So only the Cleveland locations remain. So Michael Simon said, it's hard to break in when people have their local favorite burger spots. So of course he's local to Cleveland, so he kept his home spots, but has closed the rest. So
Everybody's doing burgers.
I feel like there's a lot of burgers.
Marky Mark is doing burgers. Everybody.
Wahlburgers is big. Yeah.
And it's overrated. Wahlburgers is not that good.
I'm not a big burger fan in general, so
I'm a Red Coat guy.
I do love Red Coat, the Piedmontese beef.
I was just going to say, and the Piedmontese is great if you're trying to eat healthy because it's very low fat.
But super flavorful.
Yeah, except you're hungry afterwards. But I do enjoy it very much.
Welcome to the D. Breathe.
Funny stuff.
All right, Jag, let's talk about stand-up comedy.
Amy Schumer coming to Caesars Windsor on Thursday night. She's one of my favorites. I think she's hysterical.
Is she really? I didn't love her last special.
A few years ago, I loved her. I'm not sure if she's kept up quite that level, but she's not afraid to
say what's on her mind.
She's polarizing within the comedy community. Some people love her. Some people hate her.
Why do they hate her?
I don't know. I mean, I think there are. She's just one of those comics that there's always a comic that is successful that people love to hate, and I think she's become sort of the one that people love to hate.
Are you saying she's the Nickelback of stand-up comedy?
Yeah, a little bit.
Wow. No way.
I mean, look, there was a time when Dane Cook was, that there's always that one.
I never liked Dane Cook. I think he's a tool.
Yeah, so, I don't know. She's I don't have a real strong opinion one way or the other.
Me neither. I liked her on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, but she's big, so...
Very interesting show coming to Planet Ant on Thursday as well. It's a scientific comedy show. It's this guy named Matthew Starr, and the show is called Dark Matter. If you want to learn something and laugh, he blends science and comedy. Quickly around town this weekend, Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle has John Roy. Keith Ruff is at the Ann Arbor Comedy Showcase. Michael Keefe at the Holly Hotel. And get this, Mark Curry hanging with Mr. Cooper. If you want to hang with Mr. Cooper.
Oh, no way.
He is at the Punchline Comedy Lounge in Southfield this weekend.
Yeah, that's definitely a room that you should go check out.
This is the D.
Detroit.
This is the D. Breathe.
All right, guys, there it is. Another show. How you feeling?
Tired.
It's the, what are these? The
What did you
peanut
bring in,
butter
Becky?
chocolate
I brought
balls?
in, peanut butter chocolate energy balls.
Did you just laugh at balls?
No.
Yes,
It
you
was
did.
it was the way you said
yes,
it.
you
Seth.
It was
did.
the way you said it. Did you bring in these
chocolates?
balls
Are
These
these
here?
balls yours?
These are my balls that I handmade.
Are they chocolate salty balls?
They're very flavorful.
All right, thank you to our guest today, Brian Peterson-Roest. He's the co-founder of Bees in the D. Is there any local honey in those balls?
There is.
Is there really?
It's Great Lakes honey, which is semi-local from up north, Traverse City.
Wow.
That counts.
All right. She really likes bees. Also, want to remind you, on Thursday, we have two very special guests that are going to be in studio with us. Lauren Yahalik and Esther Navarez, who are both board members of Motor City Comedy Festival. It's a big comedy festival happening for the second year. It's back again a little bit later this month. We'll talk to them about that. You can subscribe and leave a review for this podcast wherever you get your favorite podcasts, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, so on and so forth. We've got a mobile app. If you want to download it, you can go to our website, thedebriefdetroit.com, and sign up for our email list. If you do, we will send you a list of everything we talk about in the show. Every
And then
single
some.
one.
And then some. Extras.
And then some extras as well.
Bonus content.
Yeah. All right, Becky, anything you want to plug?
Yeah, I just encourage people to go to Murals in the Market Festival. It was named by Smithsonian Magazine as one of the top 5 mural festivals in the world and the only one in the U.S. And if you'd like to take a personalized tour of it, I have 6 dates from September 28th through October that we're offering 2-hour tours for just $15. So go to enjoythed.com for the details on that.
And what about you, Jag?
If you want to do a podcast, I will get it all set up and running for you. Picked up a few more clients this week, so shout out to them. My website is jagindetroit.com. And I also do weddings. You can check it out there too.
All right, until Thursday, Detroit's moving. Keep up.
The D. Brief.
Your guide to Detroit's arts and entertainment scene.